The Ohio Tuskegee Airmen story exists because of hostile forces that rejected the American ideal, all are created equal. The Ohio Tuskegee Airmen story only exists because of hostile forces that balked at the fundamental Christian ideal to love one another. Those forces, shrouded in fear and cowardice, created the concept of segregation, to be enforced by law to ensure people would remain separate and unequal in education, housing, and opportunity. The fallacy of segregation is in the belief that the narrative can be controlled. Only a selected story will be told and believed. Any other story must be discounted, denied, and or buried, regardless of the facts. However, truth does exist. Truth must exist. Truth will always exist, even if it's hidden in a crowd of charlatans. The Tuskegee Experiment, 1941-1945. Aviation, only 40 years old, had many questioning. Does the black man have the capability to fly? It was an experiment designed to fail. However, these black birdmen not only flew, they soared. Their exemplary service, their heroism, their focus on mission to protect the bombers and get those Americans in those bombers back to their families at all costs. Their record is unsurpassed by any other flying unit at that time, a record which proved what should have been self-evident. Field Mutiny, April 1945. Mutiny on dry land? During the war, the Army Air Corps formed the all-Negro 477th Bombardment Group. Due to lack of training space, they were moved to Freeman Field in Seymour, Indiana. Even though there was not a black officers club, separate but unequal, they were ordered not to enter the white officers club. This order by the white commanding officer violated Army Regulation 210-10, paragraph 10. Having well-read African-American college-educated officers in the 477th, an inefficient, hypocritical, segregated policy was bound to be tested. 104 black officers were arrested, some twice, and charged with disobeying the commanding officer's order to sign a letter stating that they would not use the White Officers Club. If court-martialed and found guilty during wartime, the punishment could have been death. Represented by counsel that was directed by Thurgood Marshall, 3 were court-martialed, of which 1 was found guilty for pushing past a superior officer. 15 were given letters of reprimand, limiting their possibility of any advancement in the military. Shortly after the mutiny, still not combat ready, the 477th was again transferred. General Chappie James, the first black 4-star general, Tuskegee Airmen, said, "When opportunity presents itself, you must be prepared to walk through the door, even if there are individuals waiting to trip you up. Excellence in what you do will eventually lead into opportunities. Be prepared." Lockbourne Air Base, 1946 to 1949. March of 1946, the only all-black unit of the United States Army Air Force was permanently assigned to Lockbourne, a base in central Ohio. The 332nd Fighter Group returning from Europe was combined with the 477th Fighter Bomber Group, creating the 477 Composite Group. Segregation gave rise to the first and only all-black Army air base. Blacks, commanded by Colonel Benjamin O. Davis, managed the air base free of direct white supervision. At one time, there were over 2,500 black servicemen stationed at the base. The task of the group was to create an efficient and reliable arm of the military while operating with a shortage of trained personnel, supplies, and in a segregated environment. to the chagrin of pro-segregationists. Morale reached an all-time high, and the base was lauded as the best managed base in the Air Force, a model for other bases. An initiative of the wise, Operation Happiness, created a support system to the families on and off base that helped uplift the black segregated communities of Columbus. While many parts of Columbus life remained segregated and opportunities in education, housing, and employment were still limited, excellence, untethered to racism, abound at Lockbourne. Hanford Village. Upon arrival at Lockbourne, the 477th needed housing. Hanford Village, nestled between Livingston Avenue, Nelson Avenue, Main Street, and Alum Creek, became a thriving middle-class community for these black servicemen. Over 140 homes were built. However, the mid-1960s saw the building of Interstate 70, purposely routed to dissect and displace families in the village. This action did not mitigate their positive influence to the community, nor did it completely destroy the village. Today, Hanford Village is on the National Registry of Historical Places. Veterans were entitled to the GI Bill. One would think schools and universities would be eager to accept those dollars, even if it meant integrating its student bodies. The culture of separate and unequal was deep among the powerful of the times. Directors and presidents of the many schools, banks, and companies simply ignored the black veterans' petition of fairness. However, many of the officers had college degrees from historical black colleges. They learned the system and used those dollars for postgraduate degrees, including medical, dental, and law degrees. The servicemen at Lockbourne were from all over the United States, making the base a conglomerate of a national black experience, an experience unlike any other, with numbers like no other. Trusted advice and information flowed among the troops. The base became a place of encouragement and inspiration for others to persevere. Education being the key wherever it was possible. July 26, 1948. President Harry Truman signed Executive Order 9981. This abolished discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, or national origin in the United States Armed Forces. This executive order marked the beginning of the end to the inefficient, segregated U.S. military. With over 75% of the black Army Air Force officers stationed at Lockbourne, in order to integrate, the 332nd was to be deactivated. This culminated in the end of the Tuskegee Airmen experience. The last hurrah, however, May 1949, 2 months prior to deactivating, the group's 4-member gunnery team took top honors in the first ever flight gunnery meet held in Las Vegas. The Air Force's first top guns were black.
To sing America, I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.